Tasha K didn't waste any time. Her words, "Your Honor," standing erect and composed. "Our presence is due to the fact that my client was physically abused on tape in front of witnesses while at work and has subsequently sustained irreversible harm to her reputation, physical health, and emotional stability. There is more to this than a battle between reality stars. This relates to media industry accountability, and we want to demonstrate that my client was assaulted, defamed, and forced to pursue legal action." From Bambi's squad responded from the other side of the aisle. Her lawyer patiently explained that this is a setup, a staged event promoted by manufacturers who perceived a breakdown as a sign of money. Ms. Tasha K was well aware of her actions. Putting pressure on a lady, making fun of her, and spreading lies previously had public falsehoods corner them emotionally. Intent is demonstrated by our proof. This was enchantment masquerading as reality TV. The judge's eyebrows went up. Assault, slander, and now broadcast provocation are the issues at hand. She let out a sigh. "Take caution. Who went viral is of little concern to me. I want to know who went too far." Tasha K provided the first exhibit. Screams, blood, and slow-motion images of her striking the cosmetics counter are intercut with a dramatic video montage of the occurrence. Ambulance leaving. Bambi squirmed in her seat, breathing heavily while the film played. Others in the gallery turned their heads away. Others leaned in. Then arrived the second video. Tasha K is shown in a dramatic whisper to the camera while laying in a hospital bed. "I spoke the truth, so she beat me. But she can't shut me up." "Not now," I said. The judge stopped the recording and said, "Never." This was filmed by whom? That evening, hours after the event and before medical discharge paperwork was signed, her team Bambi's attorney responded. The court questioned, "Is this monetized content?" The attorney for Tasha K interspersed, "Respectfully, it wasn't a paid upload. Rather, it was an impassioned declaration for her supporters. In my courtroom, don't tell me lies. This video has more than 3, the judge stated, sponsored advertising, links to donations, and 2 million views are examples of commercial content." It was whispered in the courtroom. Fans were glued to their phones outside the courthouse. The demo clip's music was already being remixed by TikTok. Twitter was on fire. Spice wrote on Twitter, "This is the season finale, not even a trial. Told y'all the truth was deeper than y'all think, but it was Mama D who stole the moment." Erica Mena wrote on a black screen photo she shared online. "Mid-trial, drink in hand, going live." At last, the girl had to face the music. Bambi believed she was invincible. She may have been saved on set by VH1, but the courtroom, oh sweetheart. There are no editors in the courtroom. Back inside, Bambi's team displayed their own exhibit. Tasha K and a producer exchanged a series of text conversations, which the judge read out loud. He looked up and said, "Bait her. Don't let her walk out quietly." A third-party forensics team has verified that these are legitimate, Bambi's lawyer said. Tasha K's attorney protested, saying that there was insufficient context. The judge read it again and said, "Explain this one. If she loses it, that's Emmy." "Trust me," he said, gazing at the paper and then at Tasha K. "I confess to being emotionally manipulative, and you confess to creating such settings for ratings?" Tasha K responded, obviously practicing provocative, "But I never requested to be attacked." When Bambi finally stood up, she spoke in a low but firm voice. "You already knew what would happen, so you didn't need to ask. You constructed the tale, chose the right time, and challenged me to fall into it, which I didn't. I lost. You lost humanity, but you lost control." The chamber fell hushed, and even the judge took a moment. "The court has adjourned, and we will continue following a recess." YouTubers recorded their videos. Bloggers rushed to post captions as the room cleared, and responses from parked automobiles. Fans were split once more. Was Bambi the bad guy or the victim? Was Tasha K the one who revealed the truth or the one who set it off? With this that evening, VH1 issued a brief statement. Will the case ruin VH1 or just reveal what everyone has already suspected? 5 words, no names, no blame. "We are in favor of safety and the truth, but the both ladies were aware that the conflict had only just begun, and the world beyond the courtroom was no longer accepting it. Longer peaceful." The media frenzy intensified within hours of the trials. Opening day, previously ignoring reality TV drama, news outlets now prominently featured it on their homepages. Regarding things like commotion in the courtroom and the exposure of the reality TV setup, Bambi speaks up about the Tasha K case. However, there was a much more profound change behind those widely shared bites. The fans weren't simply ready. Discussions exploded as they stopped watching and started looking into it. One notion kept coming up when old episodes were broken down frame by frame with chronological breakdowns. From the start, Tasha K and VH1 had used the story as a weapon. Tasha K drank in her condo. Her live stream that night began with a theatrical tea in front of a ring light, as if she wasn't paying attention. She glanced straight at the symphonic music and a fresh thumbnail for the decade's biggest trial. Tasha versus the network serpent. Let's be clear, he remarked, looking into the camera. This battle wasn't started by me, but I'll put a stop to it, darling. Bambi, meantime, watched the live stream in quiet while browsing through her phone without making any facial expressions. The internet was on fire, and although her lawyer had encouraged her to keep quiet, silence seemed like suffocating. And the person they accused for the burn was her match. And just when she thought things couldn't get much worse, her name began trending once more, but this time it was due to Mama D going live rather than court developments. The live stream was titled Mama D's Tear Room, and 35,000 people had already seen it. Let's discuss facts. She was dressed like a reunion special, her lashes were thick, her wine swirled, and she was lighted. Bambi was warned. I mentioned it both, on and off camera. She said it in a smug tone. Tasha K just ignited it. Two producers. That girl's fuse was too short. For the record, if Bambi wants to sue someone, she better sue the therapist, she said, leaning toward the camera, who claimed to have cured her. The conversation erupted, but Erica Mena, fed up with the duplicity, joined and dropped a statement. That would go viral. Didn't you say, make it messy, Mama D? Messier is preferable. The statement had seldom been seen before, but I acquired the receipts during that reunion recording. Old letters purportedly from Mama D were discovered in stolen images, in which she let Bambi and Tasha fight it out, the producer said. In each case, Scrappy prevails. The internet gulped as what had appeared to be a lawsuit between two women turned out to be a staged act of sabotage. Campaign? Anarchy had already broken out at VH1 headquarters as executives rushed to control the consequences. The impression was the issue, not simply the case. Revealed messages and released video, and now an anonymous insider DMs uploaded by a production when they instructed Tasha to question Bambi about Scrappy's daughter. The assistant with the initials Mount 1 DM read shot. We recorded it from two perspectives. It was pre-planned and not impromptu. Disarray. We are examining internal data. The network released another ambiguous statement, communications and offering the courts complete cooperation. But it was too late. Hashtag planned setup trended for 72 hours in a row. Both sides were more prepared when day 2 of the trial commenced. And Tasha K's team summoned a surprise witness, a talent coordinator who stated that Bambi has a history of mental instability and violent outbursts, and they showed. However, Bambi's attorney retaliated by presenting medical records demonstrating that Bambi had been receiving PTSD treatment, saying emotional stress after years of being in the spotlight. The attorney said she was provoked rather than unbalanced. Then, while Bambi's crew waited for the onslaught, the voice notes came armed with the receipts that completely changed the atmosphere in the courtroom. One voice note showed Tasha K giggling. "Do you think she'll swing?" said the person backstage. "She will be better. That is the soul how we spread the word." Another had her whispering to a producer, "We cut to make her appear worse. She always cuts it." Even the judge seemed stunned. Where are these recordings approved? They were caught by a third-party microphone set up on the set without Miss Bambi's permission, he inquired. "Permission?" the attorney retorted. "So, the whole sound department is involved in this?" Quietly, the judge inquired. A lengthy pause. "Yes, Your Honor." Scrappy was still silent outside, having not spoken since his first black and white countdown article, but he was seen leaving a treatment session by a gossip blog, and when a paparazzi said, "Are you on Tasha's side?" "I'm on the side of peace," he said plainly. Another wave of rumors was sparked by that comment. Was he separating from Bambi? Then, without notice, Scrappy submitted a new tale. "I received 12 voice notes. Everyone. Was he going to be subpoenaed?" "I have not heard. I will unload everything if they bring me before the court." When Tasha K's attorney accused Bambi of using shadow blogs to conduct a smear campaign, tensions in court increased once more. One gossip website had written rare behind-the-scenes video from the assault day, but the cameraman's identity was revealed, included a close-up of Tasha giggling and giving her phone to a producer. Just before Bambi entered. Coincidence? Or choreography? Bambi's attorney inquired. Tasha K remained still, but her glare may have broken glass. Then, in a stunning gesture, Bambi herself asked to talk. She rose, took a breath, and stated, "I know what I did," after her. Lawyer paused and then nodded. I am aware of how it seemed. Let me clarify though. That day, I didn't go to work with the intention of fight anyone. I fell for it when I went there in an attempt to survive a setup. I'm responsible for it. But when Tasha K curated every second, don't tell me she's a victim, when she used my suffering as a weapon for her earnings. My motherhood, my body, and my family were all simply clicks and captions when she shared them with the world. Even if I'm not innocent, I'm not the bad guy you all keep portraying me as. A few individuals in the gallery gave a nod. Others muttered. The court receded once more when the judge scrawled something. That evening, Tasha K released her own video, which had heavily manipulated music, heartfelt moments, and a scenario in which she held a child's picture that said, the caption said, "Be kind, she lied to me and hit me. My receipts are coming." But she played the victim. That's what she didn't anticipate though. A former VH1 intern came out the next morning with an anonymous post titled, "What You Didn't See." Bambi was staged to get more views. Schedule papers, call logs, and practice notes were all provided in the mailing. For dramatic effect, several situations were loosely blocked, such as the confessional switch in which Tasha K was instructed to be in Bambi's line of sight. Even Tasha K's devoted followers started to ask, wait, was she part of the trap? As the internet erupted once again, the last morning was quiet, but not peaceful. At the courthouse, it was the type of everyone knows that something is going to break during the quiet that precedes an earthquake. Simply put, they have no idea where. They'd forced the journalist to the sidewalk. The stair rails were laced with police tape. The energy changed inside. Tasha K was no longer as confident. Her sneer was vanished, but her glitter was still there. Bambi, however, entered with her head held a little higher, not in triumph, but in determination. She had nothing. She was dangerous because she was allowed to lose. The judge spoke to the room before the resumption of opening remarks. Speaking slowly, he stated that this case has brought up important issues regarding reality TV. Consent, manipulation, and individual responsibility. Remember, this has nothing to do with TV. The law is at issue here. K. Tasha's the attorney stood and said, "Your Honor, my client has suffered from brand destruction in addition to physical assault. She's lost sponsorships, been threatened with murder, and been unable to return to work in a safe manner. The trauma caused by that occurrence wasn't dramatic. It was authentic, although Bambi's team remained unflinching." Her attorney, considering that little than 24 hours after the occurrence, Ms. Tasha K transformed that anguish into revenue-generating material. She clipped reaction videos, pushed contribution links, and made thumbnails. Is that what's happening? With a media strategist profiting from a crisis she helped create, or a lady in medical agony, the court permitted both claims to enter the dot in the record. The exhibit that made all the difference then arrived. Bambi's attorney aired a tape from a production team Zoom conversation that was leaked by a former colleague who had been subpoenaed covertly, not from VH1 or social media. Days before the filming, the video shows Tasha K talking with a producer. "If she hits over when it hits you, the entire season revolves on the plot. We will safeguard lawfully. Simply allow her to enter." There was a gasp in the room. The judge held up a hand. From where did this originate? A whistleblower reported it and inquired to stay anonymous. The lawyer added, "However, an independent legal forensic team reviews, date stamps, and verifies the audio." The face of Tasha K turned pale. A hand suddenly rose from the rear of the courtroom. Tasha Micah was there, a former junior producer on VH1. They had subpoenaed her in secret. The magistrate gestured for her to step ahead. "I was on that Zoom call," Tomic remarked in an unsteady voice, "and I signed an NDA, but I couldn't stop myself from recording it since I knew what they were intending wasn't right." They advised Tasha to remain patient and to see another black lady being ripped apart on national television for the sake of ratings. Sitting, to allow Bambi to break, they all reacted with joy in the production trailer when it succeeded. "I left the stage that day and never returned." Tasha K's attorney insisted that the statement be shocked, but the judge turned it down. Tamika's evidence supports the audio recording, which is admissible. Use cross-examination to refute the evidence if you like. Bambi sat still. She was not arrogant. Tasha K murmured something to her, and she was just amazed that someone else had finally stated it aloud. "Lawyer." Her lawyer stood. "Sure that ethical filming practices are followed throughout the shooting of some episodes? Viewer confidence is crucial." It came too late and too little. The $5 million lawsuit filed by Tasha K was full silently. There would be no compensation or settlement, only a request to dismiss with prejudice, which meant it could never be refiled. Then she was gone. Just a cleaned feed with no posts or lives, and a last message. Sometimes your remaining strength is protected by quiet. However, Bambi did not come back to the forefront, not right away. A trailer surfaced online 3 weeks later. Gentle piano music in a dimly lighted room. The shutter sound of a camera, then the voice of a lady. You saw them develop the narrative. Let me now share mine. The text faded in. A 3-part documentary series called The Bambi File. In the video, she was seen sitting down and looking directly into the camera, without any makeup. I lost it all, she remarked. My platform, my sanity. Dude. However, I have now discovered the truth and it's more audible than before. The final phrase in the trailer was before pressing the go live button, a whisper court many weeks prior. This time, they're going to listen to everything. The internet gasped a dot, the most popular remark. Tasha filed a lawsuit. Any harm, however, Bambi left with the plan due to the fact that in the era of reputation and content are not ruined in court. On-camera rewriting of it, and the next phase of this fight has just begun. Diminished too dark, it looks like the text is continuing. Inside confessional settings, they are unable to alter up. Even before the sun reached the marble stairs, the courtroom was crowded. A queue of curious fans, bloggers, and photographers extended around the block, all anticipating the confrontation that everyone knew would end but no one had anticipated. To go this far, Tasha K had come early, ugly, walking with a steady self-assured gait and a smug look that said, I won't be the one who intervals. Her legal team was behind her, carrying iPads, binders, and what seemed to be hefty files marked Exhibit C collection of video. The image was what ignited social media. Tasha K. Bambi hadn't even arrived yet she was already strutting into court like she owned it. Tweets evolved from whispers, and hatchets emerged from tweets before the judge ever entered the room. Hashtag Tasha's Bambi became popular. The air in the courtroom was substantial. Cameras were not permitted, but people continued to survive despite that, tweeting every detail as if it were a scandal at the Met Gala. When Bambi eventually arrived, wearing black and wearing little makeup, stressed out eyes caused the room to buzz quietly.